What's up, baby? This is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Make sure you tap into Black Authentic Truth for your latest news. It's great information, baby. Bomb Squad!
Tariq Nasheed right here in Los Angeles, making it do what it do, man. Y'all check out Black Authentic Truth. Get some real good games on YouTube. Black Authentic Truth, man. Check it out, man. Real good information.
Man, you know what's going on. It's your boy Geechee Gotti. I'm rocking with Black Authentic Truth. You want to learn something? Tune in, man. Get your knowledge up. Get your history up, man. Know about something, man. You know what time it is, man. Geechee Gotti, Black Authentic Truth, man. Like and subscribe.
Black man, I have an obligation to my race of people, not to no other race or no other nationality, just to black people.
And you have always hated us. We have loved you consistently for 400 years. We prayed to that black Jesus, and we saluted your flag, and we died in your militaries, and you beat us like dogs.
This is Black Authentic Truth. Hey, what's good with y'all? Hey, Shalom Kapah, Shalat, Shakat. How y'all doing today? Let me see. So let's get it in. Let's get it in. Let me check my audio real quick. Okay, looks like it's good. Hey, what's good with y'all, man? I'm the Wagga Bar for Black Authentic Truth. And we're going to talk about the victim mentality today because of a discussion I had yesterday with a black man of all people. And then I'm going to go over a little segment when Captain Tazaryach had a discussion with Marquettes, Saint in the Center, and it was about culture. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. This is going to be a quick live. All right. It's not going to be long and dragged out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have a Black History quiz at the end like I always do, or a Black Authentic Truth story. But we still gonna have some fun and get some work in. Shakat said we working in on today, sir. That's what's up. Okay. Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you, Kapah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Can't complain. You know what I mean? You can't never complain when you feel good, you feel okay, and you woke up and you know everything is functioning. Can't complain. It's a lot of people that, what's today? Sunday. A lot of people went out Saturday. A lot of people woke up Saturday, made plans, and they ain't no longer here. You feel me? They ain't no longer here. So you can't never complain when you breathing air, when you can see, when you got your health. There's never a complaint. Always keep that in mind. Yeah, so before I start this live, I always ask people, how is your Sunday going? I know I already asked, but how is your Sunday afternoon going? I know on the East Coast, you 3 hours ahead, Midwest, 2 hours ahead. Southern California is 12:20 right now. It's a nice day, clear sky. You know what I mean? Can't ask for more. Perfect weather. Not to rub it in on anybody else from somewhere else, because what's perfect to you might not be what's perfect to me, might not be what's perfect to you, right? Yeah, I'm hoping Shalat said it's Tawab, it's good. Everything is good. You know what I mean? I put it yesterday the time that I will be going. I know I usually don't do that, but I wanted to stay on schedule. Shakat said, great. Denouncing of that white Jesus always lifts my spirit. I know that's right. I know that's right. Meanwhile, a lot of brothers and sisters are in church right now with a picture of Cesare Borgia inside that church, a picture of white Jesus inside their church, and say, hey, it doesn't matter what color Christ is. It doesn't matter at all. Right? Yeah, so I'm going to get right into it. So I was having a discussion. The reason why I'm even talking about this, because I've talked about it before, but I was having a discussion with, brother, he DM'd me, and he basically said that I'm teaching Black people to have a victim mentality. And this is a Black man telling me this. And I said, brother, what is a victim mentality? I've never heard nobody clearly define it when they talking about Black people. Now I'm gonna go into some slide. I got a graphic where it shows you what a victim mentality is, and then I'll get into the definition. But none of this has to do with when white supremacists say Black people have a victim mentality. We're talking about racism. We're talking about police brutality. We're talking about slavery, Jim Crow. Whenever we talk about anything that has to do with the race relations, we have a victim mentality. And I asked the brother, what does that mean? Does that mean you have a defeated mentality? Like, do you feel as though you can't do anything? And he actually had no answer for me. He didn't have an answer, a reasonable answer. So I would like to get a white supremacist or even just a regular white person on here, on live, to actually answer the question, what is a victim mentality from your perspective? What is it? Because I'm going to tell you what I've concluded what a victim mentality really is when they say that. Okay. So in the meantime, let me get, I'm going to pull up this image. Let me grab this image. What are we going to work with? I'll work with this one. This should be good. Let me see. What I want to do, I want to share the screen. Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay, there we go. So this is a graph of the victim mentality. Let me pull it. Let me make it bigger. Let's see. I think that's cool. Symptoms of a victim mentality. Negative habits produce negative results. Here are 7 characteristics of a victim mentality. Let's see. So why does it keep doing that? All right. Feeling powerless and helpless. Dwelling on negativity. Some folks complain about their tough life just to attract attention or to fill a void in conversation. Generating self-abuse. Some people continually put themselves down. Remaining stuck in the past. That's the one. Remaining stuck in the past. But, I'll say it afterwards. Some folks refuse to let go of disappointments. Blaming the world. Some people blame scapegoats for their difficulties and setbacks. Being consumed by problems. Some folks wear their problems as a badge of honor. Feeling cheated. Some people are envious and resentful. They believe that the world isn't fair. Now, this is a clinical diagnosis of victim mentality for a person, for an individual. I want to make that clear that what I'm reading is not what I'm talking about when white supremacists and people say, oh, you have, or even black people say because you talk about slavery, you have a victim mentality. That is not this is not that. This is talking about individual people. Okay. Let me see the comment. Trooper said, I would say as Trooper Chicago, he said, I would say as non-supremacy person, who doesn't stand for anything and can be tangled with the care of another. Okay. You got to type that. I don't know if you're driving or what. I know you might be working, but I'm trying to understand, brother, what are you trying to convey? Okay. But yeah, so now let's get the definition of a victim mentality. Like I just Googled it, what the definition is. Okay. How can I share this? Can I share this? Okay, I'll just read it. I just Googled it. It says a victim mentality, a defensive or paranoid attitude based on the belief that one is a victim of the negative actions of others, even in the face of contrary evidence of such circumstances. For example, when we're pessimistic, we tend to adopt a victim mentality. Now, the key here is it's saying that a person who their mind is set on someone or something that has done something to them, even in face of contrary evidence of such circumstances, meaning they believe something that didn't happen. They're pessimistic, they're negative. They believe in something that did not happen. Okay. They're blaming someone of doing something to them that they didn't do. It says, even though contrary evidence comes out and says this didn't happen, this person in their mind frame, everything else is the root and cause of their problems. Now, when you look at Black people or even brown people and they say, this X, Y, and Z, you've done this. You've done this in history. The historical record is not contrary to what they are saying. Especially when we can see the things that happened then still happen now. Okay. And so, one second. And so, getting back to what I was saying, by definition, we know now what the definition of, a victim mentality is. And we know, like, clinically, they diagnose people with having a victim mentality. These people blame their circumstances. They're down on themselves. They have self-pity. They accuse people or things of doing things to them that, when you look at the evidence, it's contrary. The evidence doesn't support it. And as an individual, that's what a victim mentality is. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people, the phrase, you want to play the victim. You have a victim mentality. What really is that? Where does it come from? Where does it come from? I'll let somebody just chime in. You know what I mean? Just chime in if you want to. Where does that, like, we just read what a victim mentality really is. Also, we know the definition of it. Shaka said slavery. I agree. Shala said neglect from a childhood experience. Now, yes, I'm talking about this. Shala, this applies to the individual. Okay, this definitely, I agree with that. It applies to the individual. But I'm talking about when we talk about as Black people, as brown people, when we talk about the injustices done to us in the past, or we say we even speak about racism or discrimination right now in current times. People will say, white supremacists will say, and even Black people will say, you playing the victim. Why do you got a victim mentality? But mainly, it's focused on us bringing out some racial bias, some discrimination, some racial hatred or prejudice, and that is the response. So you know where that comes from? Some of y'all are old enough to know. They used to say this phrase, and you probably still hear it nowadays sometimes. You're pulling the race card. The victim card basically comes from the race card. The race card turned into the victim card. So anytime you would talk about race-related issues, just like today, white folks would immediately say, you're pulling the race card. Now, I will admit, everything is not about race. And there are instances where a Black person can say or feel that it is about race when it is not about race. I can admit to that. But most of the time, when it is about race and it's very relevant, they say you're pulling the race card. And that has to deal with slavery. It has to deal with white guilt. It is a way to take accountability off of them and put it on you for even talking about it. It's because they don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to talk about race. They won't want you to talk about the past. They want you to forget about the past and live your life as though those same things and racism and discriminations no longer exist and don't happen anymore. And we live in a post-racial society. We live in a shall I say, blaming child support for not doing for your kids. That is a good example of a victim mentality, okay, on the individual level. So you can't make an excuse for, you can't, child support is not a substitute for a father. And that goes both ways for a man and a woman. Like, money cannot substitute an actual father being in the life of his child. It's just no way it can do that. On the other hand, as a father that has children, you gotta, grab your nuts and handle your responsibilities the best way you can. And you gotta care for your seed enough to say, you know what? Maybe I didn't have a father in my life. Maybe I did, but I want my child to have the best foundation possible. Even though it's not we're not together, me and the mother, I want him or her to have the best foundation possible by me being in their life and being, an instructor and a father figure in their life and, being there, because that means more than child support or money or anything. So I agree with that. Kapa said, these terms are often used when valid points are being made and people don't want to deal with the truth. And now that is so true. They don't want to deal with the truth and they don't want to take accountability for the truth. It's a hard thing. You got to think about it. Let's just put ourselves in the mind of a white person, right? And you hear all of the things that, just say, I'm in the ISUPK, the Wagga Bar Black Authentic Truth. I'm outside and I'm telling white people the historical relevance of why Black and brown people are the way they are today, and explaining to them it's based on the cruelty and the evil of their forefathers. And so they walk around with the weight. They hear that and they have the weight, even though they feel like I wasn't involved. I never had slaves. I never been racist to anyone. I never, did anything mean or rude to or cruel to any Black or brown person. They still have this weight. And any of them with a conscience would feel remorseful, sometimes even saddened or even brought to tears at the history of how their people have done our people. But then you have the other ones that majority of the time will say, get over it. You have a victim mentality. You're pulling the race card. That was a long time ago. And so it's a way to, shift accountability and put it back on the person who is talking about the crimes of the past. Okay? That's really all it is. And so, in conclusion, what we know now is that the victim mentality, when they say that, it is a way to shift blame. It is a way to get away from taking accountability and understanding, and pausing. Just take a deep breath and pause and say, okay, I understand. I'm trying to understand from a different angle. But the victim card, or should I say the victim mentality, it is the new race card phrase. Used to be you pulling the race card, but now it is you know, you're being a victim. And it's just a way to shift and deny the truth. Okay. Shout out to y'all, man, for interacting and everything. That makes the live a lot better. Okay. It makes the live fun, and everybody can learn and take something from it. So I appreciate you guys being interactive and conversing with me. Now, I want to get to, I was at work listening to this, so I couldn't really look at it, but I was listening to it. But Captain Tazaryach and Marquette, are AKA the Saint and the Sinner, they had a discussion. And I'm going to go over a little segment of it, okay? Shala said, did I get that package? I did get that package, and I appreciate it. The water, thank you. So yeah, let me find this video. Well, I don't have to find it. It's right here. Let me stop this screen and there's an area I think I want to get to. Is it the 5-minute mark? I'll just start right here.
I don't have to read it every day to follow it, but I had to get to that point. So that's the importance of understanding who you are, because Black people, for the most part in America, when it comes to their identity, they don't have none. They don't have no culture. So you have to read, just like anything. You have to learn.
Is that true? You got you folks on the internet say the most ludicrous things. You said Black people in America don't have any culture. Is that true?
Yeah, we have culture in the sense of when you start talking about Black people with culture, you're gonna have to look at the roots of it all. So they're gonna talk about their music, which we have a musical culture. We have this culture. When Israelites are talking about culture, we talk about the God we serve, the laws we serve. The God that most Black people serve is a false God or a fake one, like most people are.
So you actually went away from what I asked you. That's a red herring. So I asked you, I challenged your point about, you said Black people don't have culture.
Right.
So you're conceding, yes, Black people do have culture. You were exaggerating.
No, I'm not. I'm saying,
okay, so you're sticking with the idea that Black people in America do not have culture.
No, I'm sticking with that, because culture that Black people have, music is, if you want to, okay, here's what, maybe this will help for those in your world understand. If you think music is a culture, by all means, Black people have it. If you think the soul food that comes from surviving slavery and what we had to eat is a culture, then yes, we have it. For us, because our culture is our actual identity and that was taken away from us, that's why we say, so we could be talking past each other. We're
not talking past each other. If you're not a linguist or a cultural anthropologist, you don't get to redefine words in general and in particular those that relate to culture. So an attempt to suggest that Black people in America don't have culture because they don't abide by your made up religion is fairly ludicrous and insulting, when in actual.
And let me just say, Cap said maybe we're talking past each other, and he said we're not talking past each other unless you're a linguist or anthropologist or whatever he said. They were talking past one another. This brother is so smart and egotistical that he couldn't even see the point that Captain Tazaryach was making. In a way, it's like this brother wants to show how smart he is. And by doing that, it's like he doesn't even see what Captain Tazaryach was even alluding to as far as us not having culture. Okay, let me just play some more.
In fact, the concept of culture has been defined quite clearly. It consists of some of the following things. This is not exhaustive: folkways, mores, religion, language, dialect, clothing, ways of being, food, holidays, and many other things. So you don't get to redefine it because it's out of line with the fake religion that you created.
What are the Black holidays?
Kwanzaa. I don't celebrate it, but here's my point. With regards to No, I don't celebrate it because I have a different culture.
Celebrating it.
1 second. No, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt, and don't fake laugh either. Don't fake laugh because I've seen it a million times, and don't interrupt. So here's my point.
Have you say
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. We already pointed out that culture had a definition before you and I started this conversation, so you don't get to create a new definition. Furthermore, I said it's a non-exhaustive list that consists of some of those things. And then you asked for an example. I gave you a very clear example. Furthermore, in my case, we practice Sasson culture. Culture is something that can be developed over time or it can be developed in a moment. For example, the fake religion that you follow, much of what it is was developed by Europeans meeting together and creating the religion.
Now, this brother, like I said, a lot of people look up to this brother as he's super smart and highly intellectual, but he doesn't even know what he's talking about. When he is literally saying the same thing that the average black person will say about the Bible and the Israelites, that book was written by white people. That religion was started by Jewish people. And he hasn't delved enough into the knowledge, into the understanding and the history of black people to even know what he's talking about. And he just wants to sound smart and sound as though he knows what he's talking about. When if, in my opinion, if him and Captain Tazaryach were able to, debate a specific subject, then it really would break down how uneducated he really is on certain topics. He may be very smart in whatever it is he does, but when it comes to the Bible and the understanding and the historical facts of who we are as a people, he is lost. Let me keep going.
I yield the floor.
Thank you. I don't know if you muted me or not.
No, sir, I would never do that to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I did not mute you. If anyone in the chat was unable to hear the gentleman, please put a 2.
No, that's cool. Long as if you said you didn't do it, that's cool.
Yeah.
By you reading your definition of culture, you prove we don't. That's why I asked you holidays. You say Kwanzaa. Most black people celebrate Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all European religions. The Israelites do not celebrate or consort with anything European. So the fact that you say Kwanzaa makes you look foolish. It doesn't make me look foolish. That was a brother that started that.
No, impossible.
It definitely is possible because Kwanzaa was created by a brother in Chicago.
This is never the type of, I don't never want to be that person. I don't never want to be that person that speaks in a way as though I know it all when I am wrong. I'm loud and wrong. He said it's impossible for him to be wrong. He said it's impossible for him to be wrong. Now, before I go a little longer, let me just, because I wanted to look up, I'm going to do this live. I wanted to look up like his website. Because he said in there, I don't know if anybody caught it. He said he practices Sasson culture. So I was like, what is that? One second. Marquette Divine. I'm going to go to his page. Okay. He says, I teach business and relationships. His logo looked kind of crazy. Let me see if I could, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't share the screen, but let me share the screen. Just for a moment. So I got to remove this first. Let me remove this. I'll bring it back. And I wonder, is there any way? Okay. Let's see. Make it big. I don't know if y'all can see that logo. Logo looks crazy. Yeah. Anyway, let me see if I can blow that up. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't plan on doing this. I just wanted to look at it. Logo, yeah, but that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's what he basically leads with. He's a graduate of Berkeley, and he's written a book. Okay. So this is not to say the brother is not, talented or smart at what he does, but he comes off very condescending. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna share this. Let me share this. This is the logo. That's crazy. This is his logo, and he's I guess he has some culture called Marquettism, meaning he makes himself as a god. Okay. This right here, I'm sorry, but this look suspect. And you know what this really reminds me of? This reminds me of I'm gonna talk about it coming up for New Year's. The god Janus, the god of duality. You have two faces connected to one another. That's what that reminds me of. That Greek stuff. And you know what the Greeks was into. You know what they were into. Yeah, it looks in the words of my my teenage son, it looks suspect. Looks sus. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to let me get back to get back to
70s.
video.
So then
Let me scoot back a little bit. Stop the screen. All right.
consort with anything European. So the fact that you say Kwanzaa makes you look foolish. It doesn't make me look foolish. That was a brother that started that.
No, impossible.
Yeah, and Kwanzaa was started by a brother. What's the brother's name? Ray. What's the brother's name? But anyway, the brother, he was involved in unaliving 2 Black Panthers in Los Angeles. The brother that started Kwanzaa, he took from Jewish, Christian, and other religions. He put like 3 different religions together to create Kwanzaa. He turned out to be an FBI informant. What is his name? Let me see. Somebody can remember his name. Put it in the chat. The brother that started Kwanzaa. He turned out to be an FBI informant, right? Working for the FBI, CIA, stuff like that. Okay. And you got Black people that still celebrate Kwanzaa to this day.
Definitely is possible because Kwanzaa was created by a brother in Chicago in the 70s. So then you're saying that Black people didn't have no culture of holidays until the 70s. Even Black History Month is
You're abusing language at this point. It's very disingenuous. So the fact of the matter is that culture does not hang on the singular point of having a holiday or not having a holiday.
Here's what
Furthermore,
go now. You interrupted me now, though. I
already warned everyone that I would be cutting into the conversation.
Okay, that's enough. The thing is that he tried to, combat Captain Tazaryach on culture, on whether or not we have culture or not. You know what I mean? Like, and say that, everything is based on a fake religion. Now he uses the name Saint and the Sinner. Saint and the Sinner comes from the Bible. You know what I mean? So that's confusion in itself to say, okay, it's European, but you're using Saint and the Sinner as, your AKA name. It just doesn't make any sense. But getting back to the culture part, let me just read the definition of culture, okay? Excuse me. So I just Googled culture. Culture is a way of life of a group of people, the behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept, generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the next. Culture is symbolic communication. Excuse me. I go a little more into it. It says the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively. Now, some people would say the arts and the things that Black people have done are our culture, whether it be actual art, whether it be music, whether it be sports, or, you know, it's a lot of things that a lot of contributions Black people have made. And that's the primary focus when you talk about people like FBA people. What's the other one? ADOS, or, you know, they focus on the accomplishments of Black people and say, like, we're Americans because of, look at all the accomplishments we have. Another is the customs, the arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group. So that's kind of saying almost the same thing, but people also look at the culture, like you'll look at Black culture and people will say, they will say, you know, the whole world follows Black culture. We're very influential. That's culture. Like they like to, you know, they try to be cool like us. They put their hat to the back. And I would agree. I would agree, like, you know, that's a form of culture. But the type of culture that this brother couldn't see Cap was talking about was the culture of your identity. Who are you? Who are you? Every other people has a culture that they can trace back to ancient times, except for Black people in America, the diaspora, people that came through the transatlantic slave trade, scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. What is your morals culturally? Like, Black people don't have any culture because today Black people are in the Christian church right now, in the Catholic church right now, in the, what you call that, the Jehovah's Witness, the Kingdom Hall right now. In a few days, Black people will be celebrating Christmas, which is the culture of who? Who's the culture? The culture of Christmas is European. We'll just say European, right? And so if you want to say, you know, because, you know, we're good at sports, we're good at entertainment, and the whole world follows us, hey, I'll give that to you. But when we're talking about a real identity in a real culture, we don't have none. We don't have one. Okay, let me show you something about this brother that, you know, it was funny to me. It really tickled me because he's a smart man. All right. Probably gonna get a kick out of this. You're probably gonna laugh at this. Now remember, and let me just go back. He was saying we don't have a culture.
Black people celebrate Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all European religions. The Israelites do not celebrate or consort with anything European. So the fact that you say Kwanzaa makes you look foolish. It doesn't make me look foolish. That was a brother that started that.
No, impossible.
It definitely is possible because Kwanzaa was created by a brother in Chicago in the 70s. So then you're saying that Black people didn't have no culture of holidays until the 70s. Even Black History Month is European.
You're abusing language at this point.
Now, let me skip back a little bit. He said
furthermore, I said it's a non-exhaustive list that consists of some of those things. And then you asked for an example. I gave you a very clear example. Furthermore, in my case, we practice Sasson culture. Culture is something that can be developed over time, or it can be.
Okay. He practiced Sasson culture, right? Is this Sasson culture?
And to look a lot like Saints Weekend, every heart's aglow. Families near, plans to cheer, for the dreams we'll hold next year. And every...
That's your boy decorating the Christmas tree. That's him decorating the Christmas tree. Whose culture is that?
Your voice joins in the songs we know.
I think that's enough. That's your boy decorating the Christmas tree. Whose culture is that? Yeah. You see, these people, they speak very eloquent and educated, but they don't even know what their culture is. This brother don't know what his culture is, but yet he's trying to argue against somebody that's been putting in work for years, Captain Tazaryach, the Kemet killer, the anybody killer. You know what I mean? And he's sitting here decorating a fucking Christmas tree. Grow up. Like you would think, and you know what? I'm not going to even be funny like that. But I've always thought this, especially when I learned the truth. I said, you ask a black person what their identity is, you're going to get 10 different answers. Also, you have black people that are very educated. They go to college, they get all kinds of degrees, but they couldn't tell you who their people really are. They don't know anything past we were slaves. They don't know anything of what was transpiring in West Africa, North Africa. They don't know. But they're highly educated, highly sophisticated. Quarter zips and cardigans and seal fur. And egotistical and prideful, but at the same time, ignorant as hell, man. Ignorant as hell. So when it comes to culture, yes, we have things that you can say black people excel at. Damn near everything we do, we excel at. We excel at anything. If given an equal playing field, we will excel over anyone. But the fact is that because we don't have an identity of who we are, we make those things our culture. We find pride in those things as our culture. You could say that, you know, wearing baggy jeans and having a, having a whole bunch of gold chains and, wearing a football jersey or something is black culture through rap music. Like you can really make anything our culture, but the reason why we look at these smaller things as the example for the fact that we have culture is because we don't have an identity. We don't have a culture that is tied to who God made us, who God designed us to be, like every other race, like Asians and Arabs, East Indians. Their culture is not just, oh, I'm here in another people's land, like in America, and I'm going to follow that way. Their culture goes back generations to ancient times. So when you look at black people, you look at the if you're not white in America, you live American culture. I mean, you live a copycat culture of white America. Where do you find people in America that are not celebrating Christmas? In the truth. I just say that, but the question stands. Where will you find people that are not celebrating Christmas? Where will you find people that are not celebrating Easter? Where will you find people that don't celebrate birthdays? Where will you find people, all of these things that Cap mentioned? Don't celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, all of that stuff that America promotes and pushes down your throat. Even the idea of partying, getting drunk and high is American culture. It's not black culture. The idea of a woman, it's okay for a woman to be half-ass naked wherever she goes, that's not black culture. That's American culture. We have copied and imitated the culture that we saw in America. So black culture that we think is culture is really a bastardized version of what our culture could really be if we learned who we really were. You're American. You live like a Europe. You live like you have taken on all of the things that the people who enslaved your ancestors did. You can even look at gangs. Gangs is not black culture. It's an imitation of white culture. You never heard of those Irish gangs? You never heard of the mobsters and the mafia? You never heard of those drive-bys? You never heard of the big smuggling of drugs, prohibition? All of the things that you would look at and say it's negative and it's bad in the black community, even those things we got from them. They were the first example of it. The first drive-bys, first drug smugglers, first to unalive their people over territory, over turfs, over different neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Over who's going to sell here, who's going to sell there. So our culture is a copycat of American culture, just to be real. Our culture should really look similar to some like an Arabic, Ethiopian type culture. Not saying exactly like that, but our culture should look like that. Our women should, be dressed more modestly. Our men behaving more dignified and honorably, naturally. But they do that because that's their culture that's been passed down. Our culture has been cut off, and then we relearn something. And even within us following America, even the bad things that we do, even the undesirable things that we do, other people follow it. That lets you know how relevant we are. Because even the way black women in them, they twerking and shit, you have other nationalities that's doing it now. You got Asians out there in Asia that's dressing up like black people and acting like they hood, dressing up like Mexican people, acting like they hood, like they cholo. Like everybody looks at us and emulates our style, and everybody wants to be a black person. I'm gonna do it PG. Everybody wants to be a black person until it's really time to be a black person and go through what we go through and feel the discrimination and the pain and the disdain we get from other people. But even the negative things that we do look cool to other people and they want to emulate it. But imagine those things if we were a righteous people. Imagine if we were righteous. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if we was doing it, if we had a real moral code. We don't have a moral code. Our moral code is America's moral code. Our ethical code, moral code, all of that stuff, what you call how you govern a people, it's American. So how we think a woman should dress is how Americans think it's okay to dress. How we think, what we think about lifestyles, alternative lifestyles, man with man, woman with woman, it's what America thinks is right. It's what America thinks is right. It's not it's not what we think, it's what America thinks. It's what they say is right. So no, we don't have a culture. And that brother was too prideful and egotistical and condescending to even see what Captain Tazaryach was even talking about. And he looked like a fool. He was outclassed. You see, the thing about it is, the Lord will take the foolish things to confound the wise. You could have all the education in the world. You can think very highly of yourself and feel as though you can never be wrong. And then some black man who didn't go to college, barely finished high school, he comes and confounds you. He comes and cuts you, making a simple point that you cannot learn from no professor, that you don't learn in a debate club. And let me just say this, in that, if you go watch that live, I forget the name of the type of debating, the type of thing. It wasn't even really, it's not a debate. Let me just clear that up. But the way that he was cutting the Captain Tazaryach off, and it seems like his mic was muting, or his mic would go down when he talked. But the way that he was turning it up on Cap, so to speak, right? That's a style of debating. You learn that like in debate class. I've never been in a debate class. I've never been to college. You know what I mean? I barely finished high school. But there's a way, and I forget the name. Maybe one of y'all can find the name of that type of debate. It's kind of like the Donald Trump style, where you just bombard the opponent with all kind of stuff. You just keep talking and saying stuff and making accusations, even though they're not true. To the unlearned person, they'll start to look at you as though you're winning the debate or the discussion, because your opponent really has no time to respond to each thing. So he says, your religion is fake. And then he throws out something else. Then he throws out another. And then it's like, okay, let's slow this down. But that is the actual strategy for people that debate. And you just bombard them with stuff. Like, who wrote the Bible? No, the King James didn't write the Bible. This religion is fake. It was written by Europeans. And people on the listening end will say, oh, he won the debate because he overtalked them. But anyway, man, I just wanted to tap in. I'll be back. You know what I mean? I just want to thank everybody for rocking with me. Appreciate you. Shalat, Shikat, who else was in here? Somebody else was in here. Sister Kapa, Redeemed Israelite 12. Shout out to you. Izara Baf Yahawada. Shout out to you. Karl Mazbah. Shout out to you. Yeah, man, I just wanted to go in. Is anybody I'm missing? Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, man. But that brother, like every other black person, like 38 million other, I don't know, what is our population now? 40 million black people? He's decorating a Christmas tree like every other black person, talking about we don't have culture, when he is celebrating the culture of Europeans. All right. So I'll see y'all soon. I appreciate brothers and sisters for rocking with me. I'm the Walker Bar. This is Black Authentic Truth. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. All right. Peace.
Tell you something, man. There's a lot of history. You know, every month they do Black History. They got Juneteenth. But there's nothing like Black Authentic Truth than what you get in ICBK. You want to make sure you subscribe to Black Authentic Truth. The reason why is because we actually give you the truth that correlates with historical information, and it incorporates with the Bible as well. You want to know why they don't have an answer for our condition in slavery? Because they don't bring the Bible. Black Authentic Truth marries Black history with the Bible, gives you the correct information. Make sure you subscribe to Black Authentic Truth for the proper information. Shalom.
Irish were not slaves like black people. Now, usually when the transatlantic slave trade is brought up, a popular claim online to minimize it is the infamous, the Irish were slaves too. We got over it, so why can't black people get over it? So I wanted to get the truth on whether or not the Irish were slaves just like black people. I asked the question, did they go through the same thing that black people went through? So let's get to it. Now, during the British rule of Ireland, and particularly during the plantations of Ireland in the Cromwellian conquest, the term slave or bond slave was sometimes used to describe the contract-bound system of servitude of tens of thousands of Irish. The legal term was indentured servant. Now, many Irish immigrated to the Americas willingly, but those forced to go under penal laws included political prisoners, vagrants, convicts, prostitutes, etc., etc. These Irish were transported to the Americas and Australia under penal transportation to work plantations under contract. The conditions were harsh, involving difficult physical labor on tobacco and sugarcane plantations. However, servants had legal protections and the right to appeal in courts for mistreatment. Legal protections enslaved black people did not have. Now, the usual period of indentured servitude was 4 to 9 years, with the average being 7 years. After that, they were free to travel, free to marry, free to own land. When they had children, their children were free. So let's compare the two. Enslaved black people were considered chattel, property, with no legal protections. The enslavement of black people wasn't for a limited time under contract until they were free. It was a perpetual, never-ending bondage that even their children inherited. It was passed down through generations and based on dehumanization and racial hierarchy. In addition, Irish indentured servitude lasted a little over a decade, whereas chattel slavery lasted for centuries. There is a huge difference between a contracted worker and a forced hereditary slave. They should not even be mentioned in the same realm. Listen, history isn't the oppression Olympics, but words do matter. If all of a sudden everything is slavery, then nothing is slavery. And the experience of black people doesn't even matter anymore because everyone has experienced it, when we know that is not intellectually honest or historically true. The Irish. This is Black Authentic Truth.